Alright, it's a beautiful day out, and I'm working on the car again. I've been working on the charge piping. I got the side going to the blow-off valve done. So, well, not done, it's just all mocked up, so to speak. So it comes around, it'll be tighter. It'll have a bracket that'll keep that distance. Now, if I need to, I can always kind of hit it with a hammer here to knock it in. But yeah, so it goes right down there. And then I'll have a 90 come up to meet the two, but that's that. Hops right over top of the alternator, and then this is from the compressor side. I'm trying to think if I'm gonna weld, maybe get some extra piping or something and get a 90 that'll come around here and just weld the V-band straight to this instead of having a coupler in between. But so far, this guy here will go like that. So you have, wow. You have all those lines that match up, and it comes up through there. But yeah, so man, it is blurry. There we go. Alright, so right there, and then it comes up through that hole there, but I gotta cut some off to get one of those elbows to go through, because on the ends of the intercooler we're gonna have couplers. So on this side of the intercooler we'll have a 90 that hops up, literally turns and hops up right there underneath the headlight, and you know, this side of the pipe will connect to it. That side's a coupler, and then it 180s around, and there'll be a 90 that comes up off of that, like U shape. But let me get this cut, and then we'll keep going. Hey guys, this isn't the same day, obviously, because it's like night out, but so I got this charge pipe is figured out. I already talked to you guys about that one. Where I left off last time was this guy, which I've got that one figured out now. So now what we're doing is I'm going to build my own catch can is what I'm going to do, and there's 4 spots I need to do. There's one, and then you have a PCV valve that screws in. You can see it right back there underneath that little elbow that comes. You can see the threads right there. You can see it back there. That guy. So pretty much I'll interseat those two that I just showed you. Those will go into a can. So what I'm thinking about doing, yeah, I know, Monster Energy drinks, but your typical catch can is around the same size as a Monster Energy can. What I was thinking about doing was mounting, you know, one can there and another can here, right? Now what I plan on doing with this one is, since this will be the line providing any oil, and this one is just vacuum back there, what I'll do is I'll put the oil I'll put the oil on the catch can itself, kind of like here, so that if it does get oil, it doesn't back up into it. So I'll put the oil one around here, or I could do one here, one here. So then I would have a 90 and a 90. This one would hoop over and go down through the intake, and then over to the vacuum fitting right down there. Right there, that threaded guy right underneath that. It'd go to that one, and then you'd have this one. Okay, and we get a second one of those guys. On eBay they make like a generic one, a generic catch can, and that's what I'd probably end up doing. These ones here. So you have these little breather plates that go on here, and I plan on using the factory gasket. What I'll do is I'll get some bar stock aluminum, and I'll cut the template shape. I'll drill the holes just so the bolts can bolt down, and I'll drill a hole, and I'll weld a 6AN fitting here, and same on the other side. Use the factory gasket so it has the same deal going on. It's just going to a catch can instead. I think I might connect the 2 cans with one line so there's still vacuum while the vacuum's still going on and still going to the intake, just in case there's any oil going on. I don't want to get backed up into the intake, so I'd rather catch the oil and then be able to, you know, dispose of that. And it would look a lot cleaner. I think it would just look cool. I don't know, whatever. But yeah. So my welder should be here Thursday. When it gets here Thursday, I need to go pick up an argon tank, and then once I get the argon tank and everything, and you get some filler rod and tungsten. But other than that, man, we should be able to get the charge pipe finished, at least welded or tacked, so I don't have to have tape and stuff like that, and I can actually see what it's going to be like. Now for the alternator, you guys are probably wondering what I've done here. I think I've probably explained it 20 times. I'm pretty excited about it, just because majority of the time on the forums anyways, people are just leaving the alternator in the factory spot. From what I've seen, they do some adapter plate or something with the throttle body. But as you can tell, dude, the belt is, it's tight. It's tight on there too. But, I mean, seriously, you could go like, I don't know, a 1/4 inch smaller of a belt, and that would help a ton. But the only thing that's hitting is right here, and it's barely touching it. I mean, it just started pushing up on this coupler. Like, just. So, if I was to do, you know, a 1/4 inch smaller belt, and then have, and kind of grind that part of the alternator down, it'd be perfect. It would be freaking perfect. And then I'm gonna do some pretty cool stuff with the power steering. I'm gonna build my own power steering line. So this guy will screw out. I'm trying to think here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'll just have an AN fitting that'll thread down into here. It'll thread into here, the AN fitting will. And I'll have a 90 degree or like a 180, because if it 180s, or is it a 180 or is it like a 120? I think it's a 180. No, 180 literally loops. I think it's like a, I don't know. It's that one that kind of does a 180 but doesn't really. It's not a 90. Maybe it's 130. I have no idea. So it's that fitting. It'll dive down. I can run the line back here, and duck it down right down here, and then go down to the rack and pinion setup. Now, here's the cool part. From the rack and pinion, came up with a pretty cool idea. And hopefully I didn't lose it. No, there it is. So this is a 10 AN bung. Now, this is somewhat similar in size. Let me get my camera set up really quick, and I'll just show you guys. Can you see? Okay, you can. So, here's my micrometer. And if I measure the inside of this in millimeters, it's 12.46 millimeters. And then if I go like here, like it's a little smaller. The 10 AM fitting's a little smaller, but honestly that doesn't bother me. And by a little smaller, it is 12. It's 12 millimeters. So you have going from a 12 millimeter to a 12.4. I can honestly taper it, so whatever. Because this just supplies flow back to the reservoir. Or, yeah, to the reservoir tank. And then the reservoir supplies it back to the rack. Yeah, because then it sucks it through the rack and pulls it up to the pump. But, I'll take this little guy here, and then I'll weld it literally straight to this thing. I'll end up cutting it down. I'll cut it down here. So this fitting will sit down lower, but it'll sit right there. And then I'll have a little power steering reservoir tank that sits right here. Aluminum, has a little metal cap that'll sit perfectly in this little divot. And then you have, you know, a 90 degree come over. All black braided by the way. All the fuel system, all the oil breathing and all that stuff's all gonna be black. AN and black cloth hose is what it is. I have it on my Camaro, and the stuff works awesome. I love it. It's got braided in between, so instead of it just having instead of it just being the stainless steel braided, you literally have like a black mesh over top of it, which is freaking cool because it just looks really cool. And if you don't get it dirty, it stays in pretty good shape. I've had this stuff on my car for a while, and I've had no problems with it whatsoever. Gets gotten fuel on it and everything. It's not gotten dirty or anything, so it's pretty cool. But yeah,
So there's still a few things, obviously, we need not to do fabrication-wise. But other than that, I mean, I've got a majority of it all figured out. This fitting here, this guy is the one we're using for the oil pressure. I think Autometer makes a kit where it's just like a brass line that it's a hard line and it's got the fittings and everything. We got an Autometer gauge in there, the boost gauge in here, and so that's the Autometer oil pressure gauge. And for some reason, my phone is horrible. So that's the Autometer oil pressure gauge. Okay, and that's mechanical. Not that I don't mind electrical. One of my friends gave that to me. My friend that has the Supra, he gave that to me, and so we're just gonna use it. But yeah, so we need to get that. I need to get the transmission. I need to tear this countershaft apart and replace third gear, because that's the one that got muffed. This other shaft's fine. I mean, bearings are fine. All the other teeth are fine. It's really weird. I don't understand it, really, to be honest with you. But yeah, so once I get the third, well, it's a third and fourth, so you got third and fourth. Once I replace the set itself, and then if I find any bearings or synchros or anything that needs to be replaced, then we'll do that too. But once that's all done, transmission can be thrown back apart, or back together, and then throw it back in the car. I gotta throw it in there. When I get it all back together, I'm gonna clean it, sand it back down, and respray some gloss clear enamel on it. It'll hide it in the black engine bay if it was just all silver. Like, I decided to paint the engine block black just because, I don't know, man, it's everything else is black, so why the hell not, you know? But yeah, so after everything is done, appearance wise, the next thing to do after this is get stuff powder coated, which the charge piping, the inlet for the turbo is going to be powder coated black. The intake manifold and compressor housing are going to be teal. It's like a pearl teal is what it is. So yeah, it's going to be pretty sweet looking. What's cool with the whole set turbo though, man, is this the factory wheel, right? But they make billet wheels for these stinking things, man. So if it doesn't spool quick enough, we can always throw a couple $100 at a billet wheel and throw that on there, man. It'll probably do the job too, which is pretty freaking sweet. I'm excited about it. So yeah, figured I'd throw an update at you guys really quick and let you guys all know what's going on. Like I said, Thursday I get my TIG welder, so I'll have an update probably then. I'll unbox it and everything, get a video of that. I'll do a review as well. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or anything regarding the build at all, just message me or whatever. On Neosec, my username is stoning_Volcom. With like Volcom, the clothing company, VOLCOM. So stoning_Volcom, and that's at Neosec, and that's pretty much every other forum. Actually, it's not underscore; it's just a dash. Like on LS1 Tech, it's stoning_Volcom. For some reason, I didn't get the underscore in there, but whatever. But yeah. So this is where we're at. If you guys have any questions, really, I honestly I love working on cars. So this stuff is just if I had my own shop again, I would run things a whole lot differently, But yeah, if you guys have questions on anything, I'll probably do a video eventually about polishing aluminum manually. It's really not that hard, man. If you have the right stuff, it can be pretty easy. So I'll do a video on that sometime. But once I get everything going, I'm really excited about this car. I can't wait to get it running. Once we get it running, actually, we're going to end up taking it up to P&L, which is up in Chicago. And they specialize in Subarus and tuning and everything because we do not want this motor to blow. This motor was built 2 years ago. Bottom end looked perfectly fine, felt fine, everything. Sounded perfectly fine when it ran. We had no problems. It didn't look bad at all. So yeah, we're going to get that going. And then I'll post up a video on Thursday. But peace out. You guys have a good night, morning, whatever you guys call it. And I'll talk to you later. All right, later.